Delighted to have a chance to chat with Steve about the Flow Collective today. So Steve, sometime back you founded this group, the Flow Collective. Tell us more about what's the background, the origin there.
Yeah, well, I mean, we started talking about community because of, Inside Out. What we're trying to do is really bring more people into this idea of collective flow, and um, the Flow Collective kind of originated back in the early days of pandemic lockdowns, and realizing that I wasn't going to be bumping into the same people on a regular basis, or realizing that there were new challenges in connecting with people, was one part of it. But another part of it was really kind of doubling down on this idea of like, I'm very invested in a few ideas, more so than others, and finding opportunities to talk about those things seem to be few and far between. We have these events that happen periodically. We have a few Slack communities that are somewhat broad and encompassing many aspects of flow and improvement and DevOps and lots of different things. But I really felt like I wanted something super niche, like just to go super deep into the concept of flow. So it started with myself and Peter Madison, another consultant and friend of ours in Toronto, and we just gradually started pulling in folks through it. We keep bumping into this person, and we talk to this person. We like this person's content on LinkedIn, and so let's see if they're interested in talking more. And it's grown somewhat organically, but every once in a while we'll actually reach out and kind of like ask people to come in, because that idea of growing a community around talking about flow and thinking about flow is something that we're still very passionate about, and it seems like there's a lot of folks who share that passion.
So I was grateful to have gotten an invitation to join the group just shortly after you and I met. So it's a group that started meeting weekly for the last more than a year now, and then also producing some videos on YouTube and LinkedIn. So it's been very high quality conversation. It's been my favorite meeting of the week, really to bring in these very thoughtful folks who are spending a lot of their energy thinking about how to help teams work together more effectively. And so I've been super grateful to have a chance to be part of a community that is having conversation at that level. But I think the idea of just finding a niche community that where people have a certain grounding in the basic vocabulary and basic concepts, but also enough difference that there's a lot of knowledge and a lot of learning that can happen by putting together their points of view, is an idea that I think could be replicated for lots of different areas. And this one feels particularly helpful and healthy that it's been incubated. It's not that the idea is to be exclusive, but it's just there being by invitation just allows it to be a very selective, high quality group of conversants who, again, speaking a similar language. And so it makes it very mutually beneficial for everybody involved.
Yeah, that idea of common language is something, that came up in the Flow Collective this week. And, it was actually very apparent in this week's meeting because we had a new member show up, right? And so it really highlighted for the first time in a couple of weeks how far we go, how deep we go into the subject matter, and the difference between starting from the outside and being in the community for a significant amount of time, for better or for worse. We have this like common lexicon and the things that we talk about on a regular basis, where we've gone to a certain depth, and coming out of it to introduce more folks. We want to be inclusive, we want to be accessible to people, and so that's a constant challenge to kind of go deep enough, but also have this like very accessible on-ramp to folks. And I think that's something that we want to strive for with Inside Out as well, right? Go very deep into high value information, share a lot of concepts that are somewhat advanced, but also make that easy and accessible to people and very relatable to them. So hopefully there's a lot of learning that we can share between writing the book and being a part of the community in driving this like high quality but like accessible information.
And the differences in knowledge from all the different participants means that everybody can be in a learning mode to one degree or another as we each sort of onboard to the other's areas of specialization. So it feels like we all have similar enough bodies of knowledge and background that we have a common shared interest in like process improvement and product development and software teams, but enough difference that we're all really learning on an ongoing basis from one another. So it's been very, very fruitful. Thank you so much, Steve, for setting up the group, and nice to have a chance to connect here.
Glad to see you there on a regular basis, and it's been wonderful to see the community grow. And I think that hopefully, as part of this effort to grow a community around clarity, value, and flow, and inside out, there's some convergence there, and I'm sure we don't know what that looks like yet, but continuing these conversations is really exciting.